Thank you. Before we begin, our mayor is going to swear in our two newest Plan Commission members.
Okay.
Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the State of Florida. Faithfully discharge. The duties of the office of Planning Commission. According to the best of my ability.
Come on up. Get a good seat.
Yeah. Come on, this one. I don't know, where's your tag?
Okay, it's just about 7 o'clock. Before we start, I'd like to welcome our new Plan Commission members. Welcoming Kathy Fenton and welcome back Dave Shalaby. I used to be on the Plan Commission with Dave. So we're happy to see him again. So if everybody would kindly stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, let's do a roll call. I'm your chairman, Nick Parisi. Our vice chairman, Ed Schuessler.
Here.
Our new commissioner, Kathy Fenton.
Here.
Our new commissioner, Dave Shalaby.
Here.
Commissioner Dan Sanchez.
Here.
And I believe Commissioner John Paul is joining us on phone.
Yes.
Okay, John, we hear you well. Good. Thank you.
Good. Yeah, I'd like to, before we start, can we see your hand? And could you take it?
Yes. Yes, it is.
But I didn't say when I'm here, so I'm on remote because I'm here in the Kansas City on business.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us.
Sure.
We've had an opportunity to review the minutes of our September 16th meeting. So I'd entertain a motion for approval.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Schuessler.
move to approve the minutes for the September 16th meeting as presented.
And we have
Second.
a second by Dan Sanchez.
Let's do a roll call.
We'll do a
since I-
roll call this time, yeah.
Abstention.
Yeah. John Paul?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Ed?
Aye.
Nick Parisi, aye. And
Record their abstentions. Just record their abstentions for the record.
yes, and naturally, Commissioners Fenton and Shalaby will have to abstain.
Yep.
They weren't here for that meeting.
Abstain.
And Commissioner Zatar is not present. Okay. So minutes are approved. Before we go into the hearings, I see we have quite a crowd over here. The first thing I'd like to do is to thank you all for coming. You know, you could have been doing other things, and you all have busy lives, and we don't like being in front of an empty room. We always really value your opinions and appreciate your attendance. And so thank you for that. And I'll tell you a little bit about, this is how we proceed. First thing we're going to do is as we go through each item on the agenda, we'll, first we'll go to the public. No, not the public, I'm sorry, excuse me. First, we'll go to the petitioners. After the petitioners, we will go to our staff, after which we will entertain any questions from the public. And anybody who wants to ask a question would have to step up to the podium and be sworn in. You will be given 3 minutes to present your case. And I would request, there are a lot of folks here, but I would request that if a question has been asked, that we don't ask it again, if it's already been taken care of, because there's a lot of people here. And you will get your chance to ask a question. And after that, that'll be your opportunity at this meeting to say what you have to do. We'll try to answer your questions as best we can. And after that, it'll go to our commissioners for the, for their input and a vote. Okay? Okay. I move that we open public hearings.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Schuessler. All in favor?
Aye.
Nobody's opposed. Okay. I move that we open with the item number 2025-0667, Orland Park Police Department Backup Dispatch Center Wireless Communication Facility. Second by Commissioner Shalaby. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, is the petitioner present? Thank you. To my fellow, welcome back. No, to my fellow commissioners, it's quite similar to a petition we had not too long ago for the same thing at the police department.
Yes, sir.
So, please.
Good evening.
You need to be, anybody coming in, you're going to be sworn in, so, go ahead.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present tonight will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please say, I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Richard Dalzell, D-A-L-Z-E-L-L, and I am the Support Services Manager for the Orland Park Police Department, as well as I serve as the 911 System Manager for the Orland Joint Emergency Telephone System Board. I request this evening that we are looking to install a new 80-foot radio tower at our training facility, and that will take care of the backup dispatch center and the emergency communication center for our police department. And if there's any questions?
No. Staff?
Thank you. You can have a seat. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'd like to begin by requesting that the staff report is entered into the record as presented during this meeting. So the applicant's here requesting a special use permit for a wireless communication facility in the MFG manufacturing district. So here's an aerial view of the existing site plan. This is the police department firing range and emergency operations center over at 10609 163rd Place that was recently completed this summer. The proposed tower that will be located at this site is a lattice style tower, which is a permitted tower type for this use in the land development code. The tower is located more than 1,000 feet from the nearest residential property. The code minimum is 500 feet adjacent to residential. The proposed tower height is 80 feet tall, and since this will not be a co-located tower, the maximum height would be 100 feet. So overall, the design and location of the tower does comply with section 6311 of our land development code. And here is a site plan showing the orange square shows where the tower will be located on the site plan. It's within the fenced-in vehicle seizure lot, so it does meet the base screening requirements that are required at the base of each wireless communication facility within the village. So for this case, staff recommends that the Plan Commission approves the wireless communication facility subject to our standard conditions. And here is the recommended motion. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Is there anybody here that came regarding this particular issue? No. Okay, other than that, then I will go to our commissioners. Commissioner Sanchez,
I don't have any questions.
okay. Commissioner Shalabi,
No questions, sir.
Commissioner Fenton,
No questions.
Commissioner Schussler,
I have just one, I think I know the answer. Or is Mr. Dozell? It's designated as a lattice-type tower. Why lattice instead of the monopole?
The monopole actually blocks a lot of the RF propagation from the antenna place on there. So we've got a couple multi-band antennas for the radio communications as well as communications between the rest of our RF structure that we have within the village. So a monopole tower would effectively block a good portion of the signal and degrade our capabilities.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Paul?
I didn't have any questions. We've done this before.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any questions either, so I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Schussler,
regarding case number 2025-0667, also known as Orland Park Police Department Backup Dispatch Center Wireless Communications Facility, I move to approve the staff recommended action as presented in the staff report to this Plan Commission for this case.
second by Commissioner Shalaby. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. Thank you for attending.
Thank you so much for your time. Take care.
I move that we close this public hearing and open public hearing number 2025-171, Bridlewood Residential Plan Development, 14137 108th Avenue.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Developer present?
Do you need to swear me in?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you raise your right hand, please? Thanks. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present tonight will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Name and address for the record.
My name is Andrea Crowley with the law firm of Griffin and Gallagher, address 10001 South Roberts Road, and that's Palos Hills 60465. I'm going to be brief because we have a big presentation and I don't want to keep everyone here. It's dark enough. We're very excited to be here. I want to thank staff. You guys have a great staff out here. We're happy to be back in Orland. They have been fantastic. Marcus is the best, and we really are grateful because he has made what we think is a good project a better one.
John, you got to mute, I think.
It's got to be something with John's line. He's got to mute it.
Are we good? Okay. We are seeking to rezone this property from what is currently E1 to R3. While we are seeking an R3 designation, I think a couple of things that I want to be real clear about. Our land planner is here and the developer is here, so they'll give a better presentation about the actual subdivision itself and the land plan. While the lots are R3 lots, there's a significant amount of open space that's going to be common area. We are doing an immense amount of tree preservation. And we actually feel that by keeping those things on common areas, they can better be preserved. It's very difficult to preserve those things on private lots. So we worked a lot with staff to make sure that we could preserve trees, and there's a lot of common area. There's a kind of a park in the middle. We also have detention that we think will solve exactly some of the existing problems in the area. These are single-family homes. The market that we're sort of targeting here is empty nesters. So these aren't anticipated to be homes with lots of kids and that kind of thing. This is really targeted toward a different market, an older market. The architect that we have, I don't know, you're probably very familiar with the Waterford project that's also with the same architect. So Ian McDonald's firm. He is not here tonight, but his renderings are here. We do have some people who can answer questions, but our architect is not here. It is the same architect as Waterford. The developer, Rick Turk, is here, and he will come up and walk you through the project. We are here. We are all here to answer questions. I do think that it is a good project. I understand the concern sometimes about lot size and things like that, but we are doing a lot to preserve open space, even if it's not necessarily private open space. So I think that that's a key component of what makes this a great project, is that it will be very well buffered with landscape, and it will be very inclusive of a large amount of open space and preserve large trees. Again, I won't keep, but I am here to answer questions, and I'm going to bring up Rick Turk if
Okay, are
it
you,
was the developer.
somebody else here with you?
We have our engineer here.
Oh, good.
And we have our land planner here. We have
They
pretty
should
much a full
probably,
team.
they should probably both be sworn in
Yeah.
because I'm quite sure that there'll be questions that they'll need to address. So if they would come up,
Yeah, and our landscape architect. We're all here except Ian McDowell.
okay.
Okay?
If they would come up.
Everyone come up at
Would everybody
once.
come up at once? Well,
I'm gonna
we won't have to do that individually later. Everybody.
Great, thanks. If you could raise your right hand, please, everyone. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present tonight will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Your name and positions for the records.
Richard Turk,
Richard Turk. And Richard, you are?
President of Corley Turk Properties LLC.
Kevin Fay, design engineer with Engineering Resource Associates.
Alyssa Corey, landscape designer with Tesca Associates.
Could you say your name louder?
Alyssa Corey.
Alyssa? And?
My name is Nick Patera.
Nick Patera?
P-A-T-E-R-A.
Okay,
Tesca
and-
Associates. I'm principal and here as the land planner and landscape architects.
Okay,
Thank you.
great, thank you. Thanks for doing that. So, Mr. Turk,
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Richard Turk, like I said, President of Corley Turk Properties LLC, and partner of our applicant, RT MGR LLC. On behalf of the late Eugene R. Corley and my partner, Susan Corley Turk, we are thrilled to be back in Orland Park after 34 years following the development of Crystal Tree Country Club. With that, I first would like to show two brief videos before I finish my words. The first one I want to show is what we built up at Conway Farms in Lake Forest. The reason I started with that is because in the video, it's hard to see, but there were two subdivisions. Both are empty nester products. One were duplex townhomes, similar to Waterford, and the other were single-family empty nester, similar to what Bridlewood's going to be. My second video is going to be Crystal Tree, which everybody's familiar with, but With me are my team members who were already sworn in. Nick Patera, land planner with Tesca Associates. Alyssa Corey, landscape designer, Tesca Associates. Andrea Crowley, who you've met, attorney with Griffin and Gallagher. And Kevin Fay, engineer with Engineering Resources. Our intent is to develop the 10-acre parcel located at 14137 108th Avenue in Orland Park. The site borders the 1,000-acre Orland Grove Forest Preserve. Corley Turk Properties LLC intends to develop and build luxury, empty nester, maintenance-free, 20-unit single-family community. The product of maintenance-free single-family is to fill the high demand and insatiable need of empty nesters currently living in Orland Park, the southwest and the southwest suburbs. Since many empty nesters prefer to remain near their family, friends, church, and club after choosing to downsize from the family home. Complementary to the site plan, we are providing architectural diversity with both single-story ranch and 1.5-story Cape Cod homes. All homes will have the primary bedroom on the first floor. Floor plans are estimated to range from 2,250 to 2,600 square feet. Prices will start at $900,000. The sponsor of bridal, they'll be start at 900, probably go up to $1.2 million. The sponsor of Bridalwood is Corley Turk Properties LLC and RTMGR LLC. The company and its affiliates have been involved in residential real estate in the Chicagoland area since 1959. During that period, the firm has built over 2,850 homes and apartments with a market value of more than $820 million. The proposed Bridalwood site plan is designed to be uniquely tailored to the property and consider the natural features and surrounding neighbors. Examples of similar successful empty nester communities include Hinsdale Meadows, the Burr Ridge Club, Annette's Woods in Northbrook, Conway Farms in Lake Forest, the Savoy Club at Burr Ridge, Hibbard Gardens in Northfield, Wesley Farms in Lake Forest, the Courts of Regent Woods in Northfield, and Kelmscott Park in Lake Forest. Bridalwood's proposed 20 homes are planned as a PUD targeting empty nester residents rather than 18 larger scale 2-story R2 family homes. We believe the PUD plan is well suited for maintenance-free community with coordinated open space management and with unified landscape and architectural appearance. The PUD plan features considerably more open space, with over 70% of the site designated as open space compared to 9.9% with the R2 plan. The site is contiguous with the existing R3 zoning to the west, which gives precedence as a transitional and compatible use. The 20-lot PUD remains at a lower dwelling unit count than the count of 23 dwelling units that would otherwise be permitted under R3 density. We propose to preserve significant open space and slightly greater than R2 density with 20 homes, but less density than 23 dwelling units permitted under R3. Thank you, and we welcome thank you, and I'm going to hand it over to Nick Patera,
Okay.
our land planner.
Commission, thank you this evening, and thank you, residents and people who've shown up for showing interest in what we're proposing here. We've been working on this property for over a year's time and working together with staff, 4 different meetings with staff to get their guidance, but we seek your guidance this evening and want to share with you the thoughts that went into this plan. Before we get into the exact plan itself, we wanted to let you know that this is an extraordinary piece of property. It has a 30-foot grade elevation from the street level up to a hilltop. It's a rounded, beautifully kind of configured piece of property. And we wanted to let you know that the way we approach land planning, and I've been doing this for 47 years, is every piece of property is unique to itself. And we want to respect not just the village, but the neighbors and the neighborhood, and show you how we've kind of approached the configuration of this layout so that it can be complementary to the surrounding neighbors and an asset to the village. The red square is the 9.5 acre piece of property. As Rick had explained, the forest preserve to the north, the residential to the east and to the south is R1. But the important thing to look at here is that it does have transitional use. As we get to the south, there's some mixed commercial development. So it's not just a uniform zoning across the board, but the comprehensive plan. If Marcus, thank you, if you could go. Am I in charge of you? You can go ahead. Thank you. Do you want me to push buttons or do you want to do that? There's a couple different views that we're going to have here. It's just showing the property from aerial perspective, but unless you're a seagull, you're not flying over the property. But now you can see the mixed-use residential or commercial to the right center of the property. And then it has the R3 to the lower left, to the next one, if you would, and the forest preserve, which is extensive to the north of this property. If we go to the next one, I'll just keep moving through. This is the comprehensive plan. This is your 2030 village comprehensive plan. And that comprehensive plan shows the property as a residential use, which we are, single-family detached owner-occupied residential. That would be, hard to see that little top black square that's on the top of the page. And it's about a 10-minute walk. And so that was one of the other elements that I want to show you that we've incorporated into this plan, to not just have this as a exclusive enclave, but to make it into a welcoming, walkable neighborhood. And that is an important element that we want to say that people will meet and greet, they'll get to know each other, and they get to know the neighbors. So if you go to the next, please. This is the site plan. It's pretty small on this screen. But the entrance coming in off of 108th intentionally takes kind of a curvilinear approach. What we didn't want to do is to make this look like a cookie cutter subdivision where you had a straight road coming to a cul-de-sac. That would be easy. And we could easily configure, as Rick had said, R2 lots. R2 lots would be wall to wall. And 18 would fit on this property with a very slight amount of open space, including stormwater, and it would come in, have a cul-de-sac loop, and go back out. But what we really wanted to do is have some finesse and some personality and some character to the, not just the integration of road network, but the homes themselves and the civil engineering. And that's what you're getting with the plan development, is you've got a comprehensive team that have collaborated together to say this thing sings. It has consistency in not just the road network, but the landscape architecture, the architecture itself, and the site plan. So now you can see the perimeter buffer around the red lines to the north, Forest Preserve to the east, the neighbors Tamarack to the south, Corley, and to the west. We all have 30 feet minimum, and it gets greater than that setback for the rear of the homes, which would be consistent with the R3 zoning. But you can see it undulates, and so that was one of the objectives of making sure that we don't see all the homes at one time, but it has motion to it. As you drive through the interior road, it has the curvature of the road. You're not seeing more than 2 or 3 facades of the homes at one time. And that's the virtue of trying to save trees onto the north, onto the south in particular, and to the southwest. That's the stormwater retention basin. Right now, off of this 30-foot hilltop, stormwater flows to the neighbors. There was one single home for years and years that was on the middle of this property that has now been demolished, but there was no restriction to the water flow that came from this guy down to the neighbors. And there's a swale on the south side, but what we're going to be doing with stormwater, and we can get more into detail on this, is containing not just our roadways and rooftops, but we're going to be containing any off-site flow that would presently come into the surrounding neighbors. So I want to let the neighbors know that might be a concern that they bring forward, that this will be curtailed as part of this development, not just controlling our own, but controlling what's there presently to a greater degree than what's there. I'll go on because we can come back to these plans if you would go to the next. Thanks, Marcus. Each home will have its own individual landscape architecture, foundation planting, street tree planting, and that wouldn't necessarily be what you would get with a conventional R2. So you're getting this through a planned development that each home has landscape that's tailored to fit the entrance monument at the front entrance, but also tailored to fit the individual homes. I'll go to the next, please. There's an entrance monument. These are starting to get hard to look at, but there's flanking the front entrance. The bridal wood will use a high-quality stone front entrance, and then have low fencing flanking that along as part of the requirement that the village has for landscaping along a public right-of-way corridor. So we have a gradual, graceful entrance. If you go to the next, please. Some of the elements that you'll see, and at the bottom of that page, you see an asphalt path. That asphalt path is a supplement to the public sidewalk that will be wrapping around that road network. We have public sidewalks and a central park space, but there's also an asphalt path that'll provide a place to go walk the dog, to walk a couple of people together quietly around the property, through and around, and then that still connects up to 108th. So you can then, invite neighbors over or walk over through into the neighborhood with seating benches as part of that. I think the next image, if you would, now starts to talk about the architecture. The architecture has been carefully designed with high-quality materials. Masonry will encapsulate the entire circumference of the homes, but the front facades have the stone image that will be kind of a thematic element. But then architectural features like a projected bay on the left-hand side of this unit, or a covered entranceway, or the twin peaks that you see will distinguish each home from one and the other. One of the concerns that the village has, and we need to abide by this, is what's called anti-monotony, so that we know where I'm coming home, it looks different than the home next to it, and so on. So these all have a different facade. If it has, two peaks to the roof and a dormer up top, it's different than perhaps the next one, if you would, Marcus, that very different with a gradual pitch to the roof, a slight projection to the bay, and an eyebrow roof over the garage doors. These homes all have their own distinguished features, but high-quality materials with the roofing, the windows, the stone facades, and even the garage doors. I think there's one more after this, I'm not sure. So that's the fourth type. Out of the 20, then there will be 4 different facade offerings, of course, with floor plans that continue to diversify that. So I will come back to, I think the last slide is coming back to the site plan, if I'm not mistaken. So with that, I will try and be brief. We can come back and answer questions. I know the neighbors want to have some words of comments. I'd also call attention to the staff report. The staff report has provided some very good guidelines as to how we've accommodated. I think one of the questions that also came up, I'm just backtracking a little bit, was parking. Each home will then have 2 cars in the covered garage, 2 cars on the driveway, plus we have 10 cars, it's 5 plus 5 around the Central Park Commons area. So it's well over 4 cars per unit. So if you invite somebody over for Super Bowl Sunday or Mother's Day, they'll have ample places to park within the neighborhood. There's a comment about the public right-of-way. The public right-of-way, rather than being a 60-foot wide right-of-way, we have it kept compact. That's the name of this, and that's why this is really looking like it's an open space, conservation open space, cluster development. So in order to preserve over 70% of the site as open space, that's quite a phenomenal number. to have 70% of open space that's going to be managed and maintained by the homeowners association, is all the green space that you see on there will be common area taken care of by the HOA in addition to the central park. So this is all accessible to public, and I think another attribute that we're able to say, in addition to preserving surrounding trees, adding more trees around the perimeter to screen for the neighbors, those are the critical elements of planned development. The R3 really allows us to consolidate and to provide the perimeter open space. If it was an R2 plan, it would be wall-to-wall homes with a simplified cul-de-sac and none of the, call it the attribute type features that I'm showing on this plan. So I'm welcome to come back, answer questions, Chair, and thank you for their time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I see you've sufficiently responded to the questions for special use standards, and you're aware of the conditions that the staff has recommended and you're accepting of them. Did you hear me?
I did hear you. I didn't mean to walk away. Yes, I think that the staff has done a commendable job.
You're familiar with their conditions?
We accept the conditions and
Did a good job responding to the special use standards, so thank you.
thank you.
So I'll go to staff now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Staff, before you begin, just one question. If you would clarify, while this is going to be zoned R3, it isn't your typical R3. Would you explain that?
Yes, so it's a R3 residential plan development. However, per code, you're allowed to do a small lot subdivision as approved with the residential plan development. So typically you would have a 10,000 square foot lot. However, the commission can approve any lot size so long as it meets the rest of the plan development requirements.
And it still fits within the R3 designation?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, just a moment. I'm having a little trouble with my display here. I think I could just go from this way. All right, thank you. All right, so I'd like to request that the staff report is entered into the record as written and as presented for this case. So the petitioner is requesting a zoning map amendment from the E1 Estate Residential Zoning District to R3 Residential, special use permit for residential plan development, a special use for disturbance to a non-tidal wetland, 2 modifications from the Land Development Code, in addition to approval of a site plan, a landscape plan, and a plat of subdivision. So I don't want to be too repetitive here. Here's an existing aerial of the site. The project is located within our Orland Grove Planning District and is designated for single-family residential. And then it's surrounded by adjacent single-family residential to the east, west, and south, and then the forest preserve to the north. The comprehensive plan land use map shows that the property is designated as single-family. However, the comp plan also specifically recommends R2 residential for this area. However, the petitioner has applied for the R3 zoning. So the first request would be the zoning map amendment. The property is zoned E1 Estate Residential, which is the default zoning that's given to properties annexed by ordinance to the village. The comprehensive plan supports the single-family residential zoning for this area, and staff finds that the R3 residential district best aligns with the proposed layout that the petitioner has brought forward for this plan, with the shared common open space over the R2 district requirements. And first, both the R2 and the R3 districts both allow for these small lot single-family developments. And then with that, all the R2 bulk requirements would still be met with this site plan, with the exception of the density being 0.27 units per acre over the actual R2 density. With the R3 residential district requirements, the parcel could be developed up to 4 units per acre. However, the developer is only choosing to build 2.27 units per acre at this site. And overall, staff finds that R3 zoning remains consistent with the comprehensive land use designation for single-family residential. The petitioner is also seeking approval for a special use for residential plan development within the R3 zoning district. The small lot configuration, as previously mentioned earlier, is permitted with the special use for residential plan development. And each home would be required to have at least 450 square feet of usable private open space, and at least 20% of the site has to be maintained as common open space for the development. And both of these have been exceeded on the plans. The overall lot coverage on the development is about 36% impervious. It could be up to 45%, and that could change by a couple percentage points as decks and patios get built over time. And in addition, all building setbacks proposed on this plan meet the minimum R3 requirements, and all the layout and design standards have been met except for the 2 modifications that were requested. The first modification is to allow for a 50-foot right-of-way in lieu of a 60-foot typical minimum right-of-way for Bridlewood Lane and for Bridlewood Circle. And as Nick previously stated, the reduced right-of-way preserves our open space, existing trees on the perimeter of the property. It expands the park area in the center of the site. And because of this, you will not have on-street parking with this layout, as each unit has 2 garage spaces, 2 driveway spaces, and the village also additionally requested off-street parking spaces within that central park area to kind of alleviate those concerns. The second modification is to reduce the parkway width on site, and that's due to the right-of-way reduction. Typically, a parkway is 8 feet, an 8-foot planting strip between the sidewalk and the street. With this plan, it would be reduced down to about 5.5 feet, or I believe 5 feet and 5 inches. And this modification has been previously granted for other planned developments within the R2, R3, and R4 districts. One that is close by to this development would be Deer Haven and Deer Haven 2 off of 143rd Street. They have the same 2 requested modifications. Additionally, a fire truck turn radius has been provided for this plan, and the Orland Fire Protection District has seen the plan, and it can accommodate a ladder truck with the fire district. So for that reason, staff recommends approval of these 2 modifications. And here's the proposed site plan and some of the accessory structures that were mentioned. And then just showing, here's a brief example of a typical R3 residential development. So this is actually Doyle Court and 142nd Street, just west of the site. There's 20 single-family lots in this area. Bridlewood's also proposing 20 single-family lots on the exact same 9.5-acre parcel, just shifted over. It's just a different layout for the same number of units on that site. The next special use that was requested was for the disturbance of a non-tidal wetland, and that is required for any work that's going on within 50 feet of a non-tidal wetland or of a wetland boundary. So no homes are actually proposed within this wetland area, and the Army Corps of Engineers has issued a no permit required letter confirming that there is not actual direct disturbance to this wetland area. It's just because our code requires that a special use is granted for any activity within 50 feet of this area. So staff recommends approval of this special use for the disturbance of a wetland with a condition that a watershed management ordinance permit is provided prior to the issuance of any permit or construction. The landscape plan approval has been reviewed by the village's landscape associate or consultant, Hay and Associates. The landscape plan has been recommended for approval. No modifications or variances have been requested, and any outstanding comments must be completed during the final landscape review. And then for the engineering plan, Nick also touched on this as well. Stormwater runoff from the majority of the site will be collected into the the storm sewer network and direct it into the proposed detention pond on the southwest corner of this property, which will eventually discharge to the 108th Avenue stormwater system. On the northern half of the property, a small portion of the site will drain north through storm sewer into the existing wetland and buffer area, which is consistent with the natural drainage pattern. Staff also recommends approval of the plat of subdivision. The proposed streets will be dedicated to the village, while the park will be maintained privately with the homeowners association. And then for the staff recommended action, regarding case number 2025-0171, Bridlewood Residential Plan Development, staff recommends to accept and make findings as fact as discussed at this Plan Commission meeting and within the staff report. And staff recommends approval of the following: the zoning map amendment from E1 Estate Residential to R3 Residential, the special use permit for residential plan development, approval of the 2 modifications to the land development code, approval of the disturbance to a non-tidal wetland, the site plan and the landscape plans, and approval of the plat of subdivision. And these are subject to our standard conditions, including an additional condition for an anti-monotony concept plan that must be provided to staff prior to the proceeding of this case to the Village Board of Trustees. And that one is just more so the buildings, we make sure they meet code through the permit process. Additionally, one other item that I wanted to mention is that there will be a dormant special service area required as a condition, and that's to ensure that the privately owned detention pond and park are maintained by the homeowners association. And here is the staff recommended motion. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Okay, now we will go to the public. If you have any questions, you would, when we recognize you, you'd step up to the podium and be sworn in. And as I mentioned earlier, you know, you'll get plenty of time, you get 3 minutes apiece. And please try not to repeat the same question that's been asked several times, if you would. So whoever wants to go first. Yes, ma'am.
Do you solemnly swear, do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Your name and address, please.
My name is Christina Nolan, Nolan. My address is 4 Old Tamarack Lane in Orland Park.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
So my comment, and I know I have 3 minutes, so I will move quickly.
That's more than you think. Go ahead.
Thank you. First of all, I appreciate your commitment and duty to our community, and congratulations to your 2 new members. Today, I come before you to encourage your commission to reach beyond the standard of acceptance when a recommendation is given by your staff and rigorously ponder whether the request of the developer, Richard J. Turk, is in the spirit of our community in that specific area. This zoning change is not in alignment with our current comprehensive plan, which was thoughtfully constructed by both our officials of the village and the community together, and which designated this property E1, and if changed to the requested R3, brings a density to this jewel of an area in Orland Park with what I might only allude to as a wart on the princess's nose. I give a nod to the developer's prowess as they currently are in the process of developing and selling the Waterford Villas, located at 153rd and Wolf, marketed as empty nester homes, and selling for a robust price in the vicinity of $1 million, on which was previously flat farmland, and which is no more than a 5-minute ride from the current proposal. Here is where I come to a crossroads in the developer's vision for the 9.53 acre parcel of land, which is not flat farmland, and which is contiguous to the 1,000 acre Orland Grove Forest Preserve and kitty corner to homes in unincorporated Orland ranging from 2.5 to 5 acre lots. Because of my limited time, I will not be broaching the scale of taking a rural road, 108th Avenue, which bridges into unincorporated Orland, and looking at the density of traffic and safety concerns from Orland to unincorporated. By requesting this zoning change in such a pristine parcel of property, there certainly is a question of weighing the developer's need to get as much bang for his buck, but knowing it might very well be at the expense of risking the trust between the residents of Orland Park, who believe the village. They believe the village when they approve their current comprehensive plan, and not be beholden to the developer who takes a risk in purchasing land that is not assured of a zoning change. More so, although I understand the proposal has been vetted and meets the baseline criteria of the Planning and Development Department, I ask you to ponder, what does it say about who we are as a community, knowing that over 50 mature trees are slated to be cut down to support this zoning change? Additionally, no research at this time has been done to address the impact of the wildlife who are in their natural habitat and daily trek from the contiguous 1,000 acres of Orland Grove Forest Preserve to reach the pond and wetlands, which are east of Old Tamarack Lane and north of 143rd Street. I encourage you to adhere to Orland's comprehensive plan, which you approved based on your vision for our community, and resoundingly vote no to the current proposal. And finally, I have a recommendation for future development planning in Orland. I believe it would be helpful for residents who are impacted by development and rezoning requests to receive an invitation to be a part of the process, rather than being informed of a public notice hearing where all of the planning has been completed and a recommendation is already slated to be presented to the members of the Planning Committee. Respectfully, and I thank you for your time, Christina.
And I thank you. Yeah. Anybody else? Please step
We
up.
share an architect, but we are not the same developer as Waterford. We merely share an architectural
I know you're
firm.
not.
So she had mentioned that we are not the same. So I just wanted to be clear that it's
I
not the
think-
same person.
I think that Christina mentioned it to show that there are similar million-dollar properties down on Wolf Road, which has been a very successful development, by the way. They're all sold out, but maybe a couple. But thank you for bringing that up. And nobody else? Sir, please, come on, step up.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly
Yes.
swear or affirm that any testimony you present will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
I
If so,
do.
thank you.
My name is Marcin Kryszczak.
Can you raise the microphone so we can hear you?
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
My name is Marcin Kryszczak. I live at Old Tamarack Lane. So my land is the last corner lot at the northeast. And I heard the developer mention that they're going to be draining some water to the north part of the lot, pretty much to the forest. So as of right now, I already have some problem with my lot being wet and being flooded. So if they're gonna add to that from all those north property roofs, so my basement's gonna be flooded pretty much.
If I understood the developer correctly, I think what they said was they would further alleviate any water going to your property. Am I correct?
Hey, Nick, our engineers, can we ask our engineer to comment?
Yeah, he's the engineer.
Hello, my name is Kevin Fay with Engineering Associates.
You're the engineer, right?
Yes. So we are detaining water from the majority of the subdivision. Currently, there's a high point in the middle of the site, and a lot of it is running off to the south. Kind of along the south edge of the proposed path around the site, everything north of that is being routed into the detention basin via swales and storm sewer. And then after being detained, it'll outlet to the right-of-way. There's that strip of land along the south with the existing trees that's not being disturbed. There's also like an existing swale along that property line that will remain undisturbed, but The majority of the subdivision will be detained.
Majority meaning all, or?
Not all. It's everything north of the path that's running along the south. There's an existing wetland on the north side, and to maintain the hydrology, some runoff is continuing to flow to that wetland to the north instead of being routed to the southwest to be detained.
Would it be correct to assume that since you're putting 20 homes on this property, that more water would be draining to the east to the old Tamarack subdivision?
To the east? No, so there's going to be swales and storm sewer along the east.
That aren't there now?
An existing swale.
You're putting in storm sewers?
Yes.
And the swale's existing already?
We're designing more defined swale to route everything to the detention basin and then some up to the wetland to the north.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Anything else, sir?
No, I just have a concern.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, thank you for allowing me to be here tonight and voice some concerns.
Let's swear you in first.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present tonight will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please say, I do.
I do.
Your name and address, please.
My name is Pat Hayes, Hayes. My address is 13733 Santa Fe Trail in Orland Park. I'm in the unincorporated Orland Trails subdivision. I've been out here since 1987, and I remember that beautiful structure of an estate that was there when we first moved in. I drive 108th probably every day. 143rd is, as you know, getting more and more and more congested with cars. So what I'm seeing here tonight, oh, one other thing, I want to acknowledge that 108th is a narrow road. It is hilly. It has, great care has to be taken if people are walking on either side of that road, or if there are cars coming and going because the hills can block the vision of oncoming traffic. What I'm seeing here first, I was surprised to see that there's one way in and one way out of this subdivision. There's no room to have another exit. So that means all of the cars, 20 houses, 40 cars, maybe more when there's company, are going to exit onto that 108th narrow road, narrow hilly road. That seems A, a little dangerous to me, and B, very congestive to me. And the one way in and one way out just doesn't seem to be a safe way. Those are my concerns.
That's kind of true also, though, to the large subdivision to the west.
No, Orland Trails, you can get in and out in several ways, yeah.
I'm talking about Persimmon, and that subdivision has one main street that exits out to 108th, and to get to the west, you'd have to go all the way, you'd have to go further south to 139th. You can exit Persimmon there, or you can exit it on 142nd. That's it.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can also enter off of 108th, I do believe, over
Right.
there. Yeah.
So we're talking about what exits out onto 108th to your
Oh,
point.
right,
Yes.
okay, yeah,
I understand your concern.
right.
I do. I thought about it myself. I know we've had a traffic study. Have we not?
No, a traffic study is not required if it's under 50 residential units.
Okay. So we haven't. Okay. Okay.
Well, also 143rd, I believe, I don't know when, because it seems like it's been a topic of conversation since I've lived there.
Mm-hmm.
But 143rd, I think, is slated at one point to be widened.
We don't own it. 143rd is it's county property, isn't it?
Date?
Yeah, it's next.
Well, whoever owns it,
No, I know.
it's being slated to be widened to a four-way highway, not a highway, but a four-lane.
Believe me.
It is a highway.
Yeah, I know you know, because
Yeah, when I'm
it's
trying
been
to
a
get from my
topic of
house to Granger
conversation.
Road, I understand. I feel your
Yes.
pain. Yeah.
Yeah, so that means, that seems to me that 108th is going to
You're worried about it being
relieve
overloaded.
some burden again off of 143rd when there's more traffic coming in there. Doesn't seem a good idea to me.
Understood.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. Anybody else? Please.
Hi, good evening. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Name and address, please.
Ralph McCurdy, MCCURDY, 10740 Coyle Court.
Believe I got your letter, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that.
I won't really touch on anything on the letter that we submitted because I don't want to be redundant with that, but I just have a few questions. I will echo that I do agree with the three previous speakers that are up here with some of their concerns. Through this process, I've met some neighbors that I haven't dealt with before to the east of me on Tamarack, to the west of me on the edge of 108th. Was the Forest Preserve notified of this change in property and zoning, or is that not required? And that's 25% of the surrounding area.
Properties within the required notice zone were all notified.
The corporate office for the Cook County Forest Preserve was on the list.
Okay, any response from them?
No.
Overall, I just will say the biggest thing to me is that with the number of variances that are here, it just seems like too tight of a fit for this development. Removal of trees, large oaks are not the same as new 3-inch trees. It's just a totally different perspective of what the place will look like. I may just need to want to follow up with the individual landscape architect in that, but there are some areas on the south that definitely run right along our property line. I'm speaking on my behalf, my father-in-law's behalf, Al Peterson, who lives next door to me at 10730. I feel there's a number of trees that are not noted there as far as whether they're being removed or staying right along that property line, between the property line and the detention pond. Some concerns with the water drainage to the existing 108th system. On more than one occasion, I've seen more than a foot of water standing on 108th after storms, and that's on the street and in what I consider Dry Creek. I never imagined that the wetlands was at the north end of the property, at the high end of the ground. I thought that was along the south end where there's a large natural area there going east to west that at times is wet when it rains and has cattails growing in it, and other times it will dry up. So overall, we just feel this is a fit that is not right for this size of property.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Could you refresh my memory on, staff, on the requirements for tree mitigation when you're removing trees?
Yeah, so just off the top of my head, I don't have the code open in front of me, but I believe it's $150 per caliper inch of tree. So a 24-inch tree, you do that times $150. And then it's actually on the landscape plan. There would be a list of each tree on the site and what's slated to be removed, what's staying. And they actually exceeded the tree preservation credit, because we do preservation credits for all the trees that they are keeping on site.
Not cash, I'm
Yeah.
alluding to replacement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and they've exceeded the requirements on that.
Yeah, for keeping the trees for the cash requirement, but just for the regular landscaping, they are fully code compliant on this site, except for the parkway width request that they've had.
Thank you. Anybody else? I see a gentleman back there.
Hi, good evening. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do.
Yes.
Your name and address, sir?
My name is Sammy Bader, and I live on Old Tamarack, 15 Old Tamarack Lane. On Old Tamarack Lane and Coyle behind us, I'm pretty sure everybody here tonight, because they're just surprised of how congested this subdivision is, small lots. My question is, we will all, of course, encourage and love a new development, but is it possible to do bigger lot, less homes, one entrance, another exit, maybe? Because I'm hearing all these suggestions, one street in and out, you know, on a Thanksgiving evening, if there's few people holding Thanksgiving dinner, the street is going to be full of cars. If there's a fire truck pulling in, I mean, there's 10 parking spots here. If you have 20 homes, when we have a gathering, you got maybe 5, 6, 10 people coming over. If you have 3 homes, you got 30, 40 cars. Where are those cars going to park? So my question is, have been another plan considered or discussed for this particular lot on 108th Avenue for all these other reasons that everybody also is mentioning?
I don't believe so, but you want to correct me?
Yeah, we have, this is probably about the 4th or 5th iteration of this plan that we've seen. There has been other plans considered. I don't know if Rick maybe wants to speak on maybe some of Rick or Nick on the R2 plan that was originally proposed. However, the benefits here with the R3 plan was what we were looking for, which was the common open space that was discussed.
Mr. Chair?
That's the planner, it's not Turk.
Thank you.
We did do a number of different plan configurations. There was an R2 plan that we did, and I had mentioned it when I was making my presentation. The R2 plan occupies nearly an entire site. It does comply with all the R2 square footage standards of the lot sizes. We did make it so it still had the road width 24 feet. So it would still have the need for organization of the parking, because you would still have bigger homes, but it would be 18 homes on an R2, which would not have...
You'll get 18 homes on R2.
Yes, you would.
Just have bigger lots and less open land.
Thank you. And more tree removal.
And more trees removed.
Potentially, because they're all in private lots.
Okay, and in such a situation, would it be likely that you'd have more than one entry and exit?
It doesn't work very well to have 2 entry exits because right now we're lining with coil, which is good traffic management to line 2 streets opposite each other. If we tried to align at the south end to the next street to the south, help me with the name, we would be offset. We don't line up perfectly with the street to the south, but otherwise it would plow a road along the south property line where there are more existing trees. So it would be more detrimental to the neighboring properties if we did end up having 2 points of entry.
And if I heard you, at R2, you'd still have 18 homes.
Yes, you would.
18 homes, and probably larger homes.
Larger footprints, more impervious.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Back there, please.
Hi, good evening. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please say, I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Name and address, please.
Diane Karamagianis, Karamagianis, and I live at 10809 Doyle Court.
10809?
Doyle.
Doyle Court.
So in looking at these plans, and a couple other members of the neighborhood had mentioned, like this is planned to be like a cul-de-sac, and I also live in a cul-de-sac on Doyle Court with the same, you know, bigger lot houses. My driveway can fit about 6 cars, and there's parking on both sides of the cul-de-sac street, which is much different than the proposed layout of the new neighborhood, which doesn't have any street parking. There's only 2 cars that could fit in the driveway, and there's only 10 spots for visitors. When I have a party at my house, I might have 10 cars, maybe 15 cars, or like many people mentioned, Super Bowl parties, holiday parties. But like I said, on my street, which is, you know, a cul-de-sac, can't fit parking on both sides of the street. So I'm concerned because I believe the overflow traffic is going to be coming on Doyle Court. It looks like the entrances to this cul-de-sac is just across the street of 108th Avenue on Doyle Court. And that's a concern as far as parking. And many others have mentioned safety on that street. And, you know, even the character of the homes in the neighborhoods, it being much smaller scaled lots and like I mentioned, just the surrounding area is a concern with parking, especially in the neighborhood that I live in. If it was planned where there was parking, you know, on the streets, and it wouldn't be much of a concern, like is displayed on this site now.
So you're primarily worried about the parking in this subdivision?
You know, I'm also concerned about that this is being targeted to empty nesters. You know, it seems that, you know, the price value for these houses are pretty up there for something that seems to me that empty nesters means to me is more of like a retirement. You know, I don't know what the targeted group is looking for when they're saying empty nesters versus, you know, all family homes that are, you know, in the surrounding areas. So I'm just not, I would rather it see like it was planned initially with bigger lots and not as many, you know, crammed houses together.
And again, you're afraid parking is, and overflow parking coming into your court?
I think that there's going to be probably people parking on our street.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Please. Y'all took the time to come. I want to make sure you're heard.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do.
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Name and address, please.
Brandon Hovey, 5 Old Tamarack Lane.
Brandon?
Brandon. So I appreciate you guys having this. I want to amplify what someone said earlier, which I'm kind of appalled to be finding out about it.
Talk a little louder if you would.
Yes, want to amplify what was said earlier, that I'm a little appalled to be finding out about such a major character change to our neighborhood, a neighborhood I've lived in for close to 2 decades. I walk and bike down 108th. I would no longer be able to with this proposed density with my children. It would be an unsafe street for that. There are no sidewalks on 108th. But back to the point, you guys really should, as a community, involve the community in these things before. Nick, I don't know who Nick is. You know Nick. I heard you say his name all the time. It's like you're best friends. But not one person here has come and said anything to the neighbors on this. I border to this property. They're proposing a flood zone, swell, relief, whatever, that would run adjacent to my property. These houses look like they back completely up to the edge of the property. Maybe there's a couple feet. I don't need to look at another building when I've looked at space and trees for the last 20 years. You're changing the complete character of the neighborhood. That density is beyond dense for our neighborhood. Our children live there. We live there with our children and our families because we care about the 1-acre lots. We care about the trees. We care about the open space. This is a bogus open space plan. I keep hearing you guys say 70% open space. That is not 70% open space. I don't know how you guys are counting that. That's crazy. I really would like to know about these swells on the back. The guy couldn't answer very well. Sounds like I'm going to have flood problems because I already have them. And that's not proposed anything to relieve that. Also, how can you make a recommendation and not come and talk to anyone in the neighborhood, in the community? I don't even know your name. You didn't even swear in, but you're telling all this information like you're the one that made this decision. I'm telling you, this would drastically impact my life, my family's life, our community's life. The density of this proposal is not in character with why we moved to Orland Park and live here and trust our families to grow up here. It's completely out of question. That's all I really have to say. The questions that were asked before, I think they're all completely in line. We have not heard anything from anyone to suggest that that transit, the amount of traffic, the amount of extra density in this region that is currently wildlife, that would actually be alleviated. I have not heard anything here from anyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody from Turk Corley who would like to respond to the fact that those gentlemen stated those houses would be to the very edge of the where the swale is going to be?
Repeat, please.
Well, the gentleman was concerned that those houses, they would be to the very, I don't want to put words in your mouth, sir. Would you repeat that?
He was saying,
right. Yes. But you.
Okay.
Need the engineer?
Sure. A couple different questions. Has to do with the setback of the homes along the east property line, as well as on the south property line, as well as on the north property line.
Our engineer has an answer for that.
Okay.
The homes, okay. The homes are set back a minimum of 30 feet from those property lines. But what we've done with landscape is important to understand, and we can address very specifically each and every one of the neighbors. Some neighbors have pools, some neighbors have a tennis court. It's important that they do have their privacy, and not just from the homes that we're proposing, but from the backyards of our houses to their backyards, so that they can have quiet. And it's not going to be an open 9.5 acre piece of property. So that is one thing that we just need to come to realize in this room, that is something's going to happen here. Unless somebody comes and buys 9.5 acres and puts one house back in. Swales. Swale is a drainage, a fancy name for a drainage ditch. It's a vegetated drainage conveyance. Those will be swales on the east side of the property to protect your property from what's now running off. There's like I said, the central open space that we have that inside the figure 8 cul-de-sac is the top of the hill. That's a 30-foot grade elevation over 108th and also over the properties to the east. That water right now flows off unrestricted anyway it wants to during a storm event. The swale would be a drainage ditch, but not only a drainage ditch, there's yard drains that are in the swale. So the swale is going to go to a catch basin, just like you would see a yard drain. I don't know the size.
I was going to say there's sewer pipe too. There's not.
Kevin, you're the engineer, right?
Rick.
Oh.
Kevin was.
Not only a swale, there's sewer pipe.
So that there's along that east property line and between the various houses, there's catch basins. It's very hard to see, but the little round target things are catch basins that will be then absorbing the water that comes from the swales. So the swale is a ditch, the ditch has a drain. The drain then goes to the pond at the southwest corner.
And I would think, aside from your being a developer, I would like our engineer from the village to address that.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I was going to say. The site is capturing the stormwater through the swales to the storm sewer, then it's going to the detention basin, and it's doing the same thing around the north side of the site, and they're bringing it back into the detention basin, and then from the detention basin it outlets to the 108th storm sewer. Overall, like the discharge rate from the site is going to be less than what's existing out there, so like water is going to discharge slower.
Less than what?
Than what's out there now. There's no infrastructure out there now, so like this gentleman was saying, like it just runs off. But right now we're capturing it, we're putting it through a restrictor structure in the detention basin, so it's going to come out slower, and it's going to be a more managed site than it is now.
So you've considered the site, the effects of having 20 properties on it?
Sorry?
You've considered that?
Yeah. This has been designed to comply with the village requirements as well as MWRD requirements.
So we are not allowed to, just for the audience and the commission's sake, we're not allowed to discharge any water off-site to a volume greater than what's there today.
Okay.
But in addition to that, so in other words, we're adding rooftops and roadways. Yes, it's impervious. And there's also sidewalks for public use on 108th as well as our interior road. We can't discharge any increase of water, but not only that, we're actually capturing water that's presently running off. So even if we didn't put anything on the site, what we're doing is an improvement to the existing conditions. Again, a virtue of doing something that's in conformance with village standard. That's not just a PUD standard, that's any residential development isn't allowed to discharge anything that's greater than what's there today, but we're actually diminishing what's there today, with exception of the being respectful of the wetland that goes off to the forest preserve. We want to make sure that we replenish that wetland and keep that vital. We mentioned wildlife, we mentioned quality of vegetation. We don't want to just dry up an existing wetland. We know that that's a high quality asset that contributes to the bigger forest preserve.
Thank you.
Can you please speak in the microphone?
He's already been sworn in, right?
Yeah. So right now, the city code asks us for our fencing to be 5 feet from our property lines. If you approve this development, can we move our fences 5 feet to the property line? Because we're giving them away 5 feet from our properties to use.
Yes, you can have your fence up to the edge of your property line.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Oh, young lady.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please say, I do.
I do.
Thank
Name
you.
and address, please.
My name is Mara Yevtovich, M-A-R-A. Last name is J-E-V-T-O-V-I-C. I live at 10800 142nd Street, so I'm on 108th.
142nd Street?
Yep.
You're in the corner?
Yep.
Yes.
So two concerns I'm not going to go into, but the dense property, you figure 2 to 3 cars per house these days is pretty average. And my concern is the traffic and the safety. We do have children, we do have walkers. A lot of people walk their pets up and down 108th, up and down my street. That's an additional probably 50 cars, 40 to 50 cars added into our subdivision. And I think that a traffic report needs to be done. That's one concern. The other concern I have is a lot of the neighbors are not aware of what is going on. Nobody's aware of this. We didn't even know about this until 2 weeks ago when we got the certified letter from the attorney's office. And then we became informed and informed ourselves. I really think that the neighbors need to inform themselves. We need to give them time. We need to make them aware of what is happening with this land here. None of the neighbors on Doyle Court that I spoke to were aware that this was happening.
Wouldn't the neighbors on Doyle Code have had to be?
I think there needs to be better communication, maybe even send out this.
We do have an affidavit of all legal required statutory notice having been met.
The neighbors are not aware. They didn't know about the hearing tonight.
Wait. If you want it, I will, sir. I want everybody to have their turn to speak, but if you would, you please have to come up to the podium and address.
I'd like to have more time for the neighbors to be more informed about the whole development.
But yeah, but it's my understanding that all the required notifications were sent out. And not to mention that the property itself is posted.
I got a certified letter, but my neighbors did not.
Anyone within, sorry, sometimes, so this happens frequently, is that anyone within 300 feet of the property is required to be notified. So certain properties, like if you're on the east side of Old Tamarack Court, you might not have gotten a letter because you're further than 300 feet
Right.
from that.
The same with the edge of Doyle Court, to the west side.
Correct, the west
Right.
end of Doyle Court.
Diane, who lives on the corner, she received a certified letter. The rest of Doyle Court did not receive a certified.
I live in Persimmon, so I know.
Yeah. So I think they need to be informed. That's all I'm saying. I think we need more time.
And I guess I would assume that there were objections, they'd be the same objections that you folks have raised here tonight. Yes? Okay. Anybody else? You know, I don't think I should acknowledge him.
Sorry, but I really got to say this. No, we do need more time to be informed. There are a lot of neighbors that are not aware of this. This is changing a drastic corner of Northwest Orland Park community and life. This will change our lifestyles. It will impact us on how we traverse 108th, which will be overrun with too many cars. That avenue. Have any of you actually been on 108th recently? Other than you.
right there.
Yeah, I know, other than you, because it is a tight road. Some of the people have mentioned this. This development does nothing to address that. It is not a currently safe road, and adding 50, 60 cars will not make it safer. But the point is, it really feels like, to the madam's point, the community's not aware of this. And I understand the statutory restrictions, but we are a community and a village in Orland Park. We're not a big city. We would like to be informed of this. The community is not well aware of it. Everyone who is pretty much opposed to it. I understand something will be done. I'm not opposed to an R1, which is what it really should have been all along, okay? But R3 is a little absurd with the density. Even R2, I understand you're using R3 excuse because you're using, well, R2 doesn't have enough open space. To me, that's a bogus excuse to try and get to R3. And I feel like the staff is trying to do a runaround on this and not even let the community voice our full opinion about it. You're gonna build into a community that you're not gonna be welcome with the current proposal. And that's the issue.
R2 would have enough open space. It would just have 18 homes instead of 20, just to be sure. Okay, thank you. Okay. Well, now I will, okay, this has been your opportunity. Now I will turn it over to my fellow commissioners. And we'll start with Commissioner John Paul. Yes, hear you loud and clear.
So, yeah, a couple of points here. Number one, I think it's a good use of the land. I understand residents in the surrounding areas are concerned. It's always a concern when something new is going to be developed. Something's going to go there. Right? We could kill this, and, a month later, they'll be on a proposal. Be pretty similar, because that doesn't work. That's what it's zoned for. And it's being anything. So, I get what people are concerned, but, something's going to be there. This is a pretty reasonable project. Concerned about traffic, I understand, but you have to remember there's 20 homes there. The likelihood of all 20 or 40 people leaving and going at the same time is pretty unlikely. Yeah, there'll be a couple cars going in and out of there from time to time. But again, 20 houses isn't going to horribly impact traffic on a major thoroughfare like 108th Street. As far as parking goes, that was a concern that I had as well. But really, when you're looking at a home, and you're the type of person that has a lot of people over all the time, you have a lot of cars, a lot of get-togethers. If you're looking at a house here, you realize, well, there's really not a lot of place for people to park. Maybe I'll get a house in another place, not get a house here because nobody's able to park here when we have things going on. There's limitations. People live in neighborhoods where there's limitations on the available parking. You either adjust to it or you decide, I'm not going to move there in the first place. I think that takes care of itself. But yeah, that's the thing. I have no problems. I think the developers have bent over backwards to accommodate what the village requested to comply. I support this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Schuessler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Couple of questions, and then I'll have a couple of comments.
No,
No,
sir. Public
no.
comment is over.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Schuessler.
can I speak?
Yes.
Okay. With regard to the guest parking and the reduction in the size of the streets from right away, what is what is going to be the width of the streets? Oh, wait, I think I see it. It's 24 feet.
Correct, yeah.
But if we had a 60-foot right-of-way,
So.
what would be the width of the street from curb to curb?
So the right-of-way could be, its minimum required 60 feet. However, the street is anywhere permitted from 24 to 30 feet wide. So you could still do a 24-foot street with a wider parkway and have the sidewalks further away.
Okay.
And that would still be a 60-foot right-of-way.
Okay, well, it's not really what I'm asking. What, in a conventional subdivision that has a 60-foot right-of-way, what is the normal width of the street itself?
I would say we would typically request 30 as like a basic,
Okay,
for
so
example.
we're going from,
yeah, like a-
we're going from 30 to 24.
Correct.
Okay, does that mean there's going to be no parking on either side, or is parking going to be allowed on one side?
So we've requested no parking on either side, and that was a request, that was a comment from the fire district.
No parking on either side.
They requested that, correct?
Okay. With regard to the parkway trees, there's some reference to certain species being selected and required. I think that's important because when you have a reduced right-of-way for planting, the roots can break up the sidewalk or the curb. So I hope that that's strictly enforced.
Yes, and we did, just to respond to that, our Public Works Department reviewed, they listed a few species just because they also did not want the canopy to overhang the street as well.
Okay, it appears to me that there is a significant attempt here to save as many of the mature trees as possible, which I'm in favor of because that is a developed site and there are a lot of nice trees on there. I was going to talk about the elevations, but I believe Commissioner Fenton is going to do that, so I won't say the same thing. Okay, that's all for that. On the standards worksheet special use, it mentions, there's a mention about fences somewhere. Is the homeowners association, CCRs, the covenants, conditions, and restrictions going to prohibit fences in this development? Thank you. In the elevations, there are some fences shown. Where are those fences going to be if fences are not going to be in the development? I think it's in, where did I see it? Somewhere in the back, there's a picture
Chair,
of
may
a
I
fence.
respond?
Please.
Thank you. There is a photograph on the last sheet
Yeah.
of a board-on-board fence.
A board fence, yes. Yeah, right here.
Right, a 6-foot-high wood solid board fence.
Where's that going to go?
Well, the village does have a mandatory requirement, what they call their corridor landscape, and they require the fence to occupy the area where the two homes are flanking 108th. We would like to retract that idea and make a much more neighbor-friendly fence with a 3-rail type fence that would kind of go along with the bridlewood theme. But that's not a property line fence, that's not a borderline fence that would be used in backyards, but it was a fence that was shown that extended out from those entrance monuments going north along 108th and going south along 108th, along the facades of those two homes that are parallel. So that's, the answer was, that's where that fence is.
Okay.
And just a side note, we would prefer that not to look so imposing as a board fence, 6 foot high, but just a simple rail fence, and it would still meet ordinance.
If this gets approved, I will leave that to you and staff to work out.
To work it out with the developer.
Okay, a couple of other things. We've heard a lot tonight about water, about roads, about density. I think if I heard this right, from both the developer and from the village engineer, the requirements of the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District and the village prohibit any developer from allowing more water to flow from the development onto the adjacent property than is there now. Is that correct? As a general statement?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. But the developer then stated that they're putting in additional drainage that will actually reduce some of the present sheet drainage that just kind of flows from high point to low point, and the low point might be the adjacent property. Is that correct?
In general, the east side is a little higher from what I recall.
Okay,
yeah.
well, my question is simpler than that. Are they going to, will this development cause any more water than is presently going somewhere to go onto adjacent property?
No, there's and they certify on their plans that there's
Okay.
no adverse drainage impact to adjacent properties.
Okay, and because they're putting a pond in, there'll probably be less water going to adjacent properties, is that correct?
Correct.
So the situation will be better with regard to drainage for adjacent properties with this built than without it built, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. With regard to roads, there's always going to be more traffic. Orland Park is not built out yet. There's still a lot of cornfields, soybean fields, vacant, no fields, that someday is going to be developed. Unfortunately, in the state of Illinois, the roads that are major roads, county and state roads, county road, I think 108th is a township road, if I remember right. 143rd is a state road. Wolf Road is both state in some places and county in other places. State and county are always behind the development. The development happens first and then they widen the roads. I moved to Orland Park in 1972. LaGrange Road from 143rd to 159th was 2 lanes. Well, you know, there's a major shopping center there now. Well, the state waited until after the shopping center was built, a couple of years, and then they widened it to 4 lanes, and of course now it's been widened to 6 lanes. So we're always going to have more traffic. If we decided not to allow any development to happen because there might be more traffic, there would never, ever be any more houses built. And there just are going to be more houses built because the cornfields are eventually going to be houses at some point. So that's not a really valid argument.
Excuse me, you've had your opportunity to speak. This is not a debate. You've expressed your opinions, and you're very articulate, and I appreciate it. now allow the commissioners to express theirs,
But you're stating facts that are true, those aren't opinions.
as are yours. Thank you. Please, sir, I'm asking you very politely. Commissioner Schussler?
I have no further comments.
Thank you. Commissioner Fenton?
I'd like to thank you for welcoming me so nice. This evening being my first Plan Commission meeting, but it's not my first rodeo sitting up here. So one of the things that was brought up was about the E1 going to an R3, and everyone has to understand that when property is brought into the village, we have to zone it as something. So it's always zoned as E1, and then it goes from there based on what's the surrounding areas. I'm very familiar where all of you live. Been down to your streets when we had our garden thing. We used several houses in your subdivision. Yes, it would be wonderful if this piece of land could stay open, or if there was just be one more, one house plunked on there like it was before. And I also know other families that live on 108th Avenue. But would I like to see 18 houses versus 20? Yes, but I also don't want R2 regulations versus the R3 with the open space and the drainage. One of my concerns is the elevations of these homes. I mean, being $900,000, I wouldn't like my house to look like the house next door. And in your elevations, everyone is the same color. One might have 2 peaks, the other one might have 3 peaks. And I think there needs to be more character brought into these homes. So I don't know if you plan on building the houses and then have people purchase them, or if somebody gets to come in and pick what happens. What happens if everybody picks the same model and now you have, based on your renderings, 20 of the same houses? So when, Santa Claus comes to deliver his toys, he's going to get a little confused. So I think that's something, because we have a subdivision in town right now that it looks terrible because everything looks the same. Being $900,000 starting up to $1 million, I think you need the character that is on Tamarack Lane. Looking at those houses, those homes are all different. They all don't look the same. Even in my old subdivision where I live, at least the houses are different. So I think that's something that really needs to be looked at. That's not saying that we can't approve it, but you need to improve that. I'm concerned about that wooden fence. Wooden fences look absolutely beautiful for the first couple years, and then they look horrible. And I think possibly maybe staff working with the developer and putting, I don't know if you planned a fence along the back between the 2 sections, maybe a nice wrought iron fence, or even a split rail fence back there, which might visually give the neighbors a little bit more privacy. And it's going to be a major, major adjustment, and I totally get it. But I'm also sitting up here knowing that we really shouldn't say no to something that's going to be a quality product. Hopefully when they change the elevations, they all look the same. So those are the things that I'm concerned about. Yes, I would like to see Lot 4 and Lot 17 go away because I think they're crammed in there like a little sardine. But I also don't want to see that R2 because I'm really a very big proponent of open lands. So, and I'm glad you're improving and putting storm sewers in there and everything to help the drainage for the neighbors who are currently getting water. They now won't be getting water because you're taking care of it in your development. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Commissioner Fenton. And I think staff, you wanted to comment?
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to share that staff has the same concerns regarding the elevations, which is why we added the anti-monotony condition to the report. And that's something we will be working with the petitioner on.
You're going to add a condition?
There is a condition added about anti-monotony. So we would like a concept plan that would show, various different styles of homes and where they could be located. So you do not have the same home next to another home. And then you get some varying colors and home styles, which is typical for most single-family residential developments.
So you address, on the anti-monotony, you also address, aside from facades, and you address the color, brick colors and
That's correct.
And roof colors.
Yes, they would have to meet the design standards that we have.
That's a great point, though. Thank you. Commissioner Sanchez.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Most of my questions have already been asked, but I do have a few remaining. Marcus, can you flash that picture of the property to the west again? And just, I'm curious about I guess, the differences there. I know they're kind of similar lots. Is it a wider street? Can they get parking on the street and the new proposed property cannot? Is that correct?
On Doyle Court,
Yes.
I believe Doyle Court is actually a 30-foot wide street.
30 foot compared to the 24?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. It looks like there's 20 lots there. Is that?
Yes, actually, one of them, I believe lot 6 is someone's basketball court, and then lots 13, 15, and 17 are not built yet.
Gotcha. Okay. And then I know you'd mentioned that the traffic study is not required for this size property, but I do feel like we probably need to do that, just based on all the concerns from the residents. I think there's a lot that I really like about the plan. I was glad to see, I know Commissioner Fenton brought up the colors, so I'm glad to see that you kind of put that request in there. So there's a lot that I like about it. I think I'm going to vote no tonight, though, just based, I think we do need to do that traffic study. I understand why we didn't, because it's not required, but just based on all the concerns and kind of the higher density there, I think we should do that before moving forward, so. But.
Is that it, Dan?
That's it.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Shalaby.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I didn't expect my first meeting to be this eventful.
Good to have you back.
Thank you. Thank you for all the residents that came out. I think that one thing that I've always loved growing up in Orland Park and going through the old Tamarack community is that it's got tons of character. It's a beautiful area. I did want to piggyback off of Chairman Fenton, or Commissioner Fenton's elevations and character concern to kind of be more in line with that, and it looks like that's been addressed by staff. I was very concerned about stormwater. I think that, Mr. Hussein, you've alleviated that for me, that this project will be better for the neighbors that are surrounding, and you can confidently say that. So that made me feel better, assuming that that's, there's significant improvement upon that. I do have a concern about all of the mature trees being uprooted. I think we talked about 50 trees. Is there any possibility that we can minimize that?
So overall, there were trees originally that we would have liked to save on site. We've asked the petitioner, but based on, foundations and root systems, they just wouldn't survive in the long term there.
I'm concerned about parking. I do want to ask staff the feedback on how do you feel the density for 20 homes with one in and out in comparison to other projects like maybe Charlton Highlands that's kind of similar to this?
Yeah, so I would say similar developments, that's a good example of one. Another one would be the crossings at Brook Hills off of Southwest Highway or Route 6 and Wolf Road. They have a very similar layout where you have one entrance and exit to the cul-de-sac on the south side of Southwest Highway. And just based on, we reach out to other village departments like the fire district, and they're okay with, in the police department, and they were okay with the proposed layout for that, for safety purposes.
And lastly, I do have a concern for parking. I think this is very tight. 20 homes, I do see the extra 10 spots in the middle of the cul-de-sac there. I think one of the residents on Doyle Court, not Coyle, brought up a good point. I do think that you're going to end up having some overflow into the neighboring subdivision. I can see some legitimate concern there. So in my opinion, I understand that a new development will go here. I understand that the requirements have all been made by staff and approved by staff, and we've gotten this far. I think 20 is a little bit tight, but that's my feedback.
Thank you. Yeah, I too am, have some concerns mostly about the parking. As far as drainage and everything, I'm satisfied with that. But the parking brings me back to we're gonna have 24-foot wide streets instead of 30-foot wide streets. If we had 30-foot wide streets, obviously you'd have off-street parking. No?
Yes, I would say, yeah, we would allow that for a 30-foot street.
And we can't have 30-foot wide streets, I should know this, but because?
Just based on the proposed layout of the plans, you would lose a lot of driveway space. You would lose, you know, your setbacks and everything like that.
So if we had 30-foot wide streets, we'd lose a lot of driveway space.
So it would just kind of, it would expand, it would kind of push everything back, and then
it would have to be reconfigured?
Yes, there would be a lot of site reconfigurations.
To get 30, it would have to be reconfigured.
Correct.
Which could possibly result in fewer homes. I'm not suggesting that, I'm asking a question.
I think he wants to answer.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Can I say one more thing?
Mr. Schuessler, yes.
I was concerned about the parking too, because of the reduction in the size of the streets and the 10 extra parking places. I live in a duplex development where we've got 86 units, 43 duplexes. And it was originally a planned unit development with private streets, but they were subsequently sold back to the village. We have, for the 86 units, we have 30 off-street parking places, and they're hardly ever used, quite frankly. So based on that experience, I don't think having the 10 extra spaces for the 20 houses should be a problem, but that's just based on my experience with our development.
You know, we had a similar situation in terms of no off-street parking in Metro East, for instance. We just had the driveway as additional parking, if you recall. Yeah, and now these homes have basements, do they not? Yes, sir. Okay, I asked that for a reason, because we approved another one, didn't have much, but it just had driveway parking, but they were on slabs, so you know the garage wasn't going to be used for cars. That's why I asked that question. But sir, you had it.
I'm trying to help answer some questions that have come up from neighbors from the commission. Parking seems to be one of the things, the right-of-way and/or the width of the street. We did have parking on the street with a wider street, but it didn't generate as much parking as what we're having now. The two groups of 5 that are the 90-degree parking that are internal to the park space, we can increase that number. We thought that we had an appropriate number.
Would you say that again? I'm sorry.
Right now, the parking that we have, the guest parking, in addition to 2 cars on the driveway, and if it's Super Bowl Sunday, if it's a Mother's Day, Easter Sunday, what have you.
People have large gatherings.
Right. We can add more parking. We are just trying to create a balance. And so if it's a concern of neighbors of the commission that we do that, we don't have to try and widen the street. We don't want to impose a traffic.
Well, it is a concern.
Right. From a public safety point of view, but we can have off-street parking similar to the 2 sets of 5 that we have. We can make those 2 sets of 6. We can make them 2 sets of 8, or we can have another set. So I think we can increase 10 up to 15, 16 cars and still, I think, keep the nice, compact, slow street. We don't want to end up having, one of the things that we've tried to do with this narrow street is to discourage people from zooming through here. It's not a through street, so that's one other comment, but it does tend to slow people down if it's a narrow street. One other comment that didn't get made yet, but has been brought up by neighbors, is that we are putting sidewalks, a public sidewalk, not only on our internal street and the loop of, call it walkway with the asphalt path that's going around between our homes, but we're also adding sidewalk on 108th and 2 crosswalks, one at Doyle and one at 143rd, or 142nd. So there is pedestrian accommodation, and that, I think, answers at least some concerns about safety, kids, bikes, and people walking on the street, that we're adding a sidewalk along 108th where there isn't one now. So parking and right-of-way width was the reason I came up. Thank you.
What am I going to do with this guy? Come up and shoot him up.
I want to address that because the street, the issue with the safety, well, he
Public
got to
comment.
talk again, so why can't we?
Public comment is over.
But he's not, he's public too, and he got to comment again.
Not that he's the petitioner.
Okay, but the sidewalk issue is not resolved because the street's too
Procedurally
narrow
improper.
for all the extra.
You've had your,
You've been up here 3 times, 4 times.
I'm sure you do.
Oh, you're gonna,
The bottom line is, you're changing something that we moved here for 1 acre lots. We didn't move here to be next.
Sir,
said
I'm
that.
sorry, we have to restore
You
order.
said that, and I'm going to have to restore order to this meeting. You've had your opportunity. We've heard your concern. Sir, please don't do this. Please. No, we don't need that. No. So by the way, adding extra parking slots like you suggested, I would totally support that. I would totally support that. Public comment is over. I would totally support that. And that's about it. I mean, we've actually covered a number of concerns, and a lot more similar, and you know, and we understand that.
I'm sorry, we cannot have any more comments from the public.
The public comment.
I can help. I'm going to ask a question of staff. It'll calm down. Mr. Chairman, maybe recognize.
Okay, I'll acknowledge Commissioner Shalaby.
So I think there's a question from the group that the picture that was depicted on Doyle Court was depicting that there were 20 homes that were also trying to show that there's a fair comparison to these number of homes here, right? But it sounds like, and I'm not claiming that this is accurate or not because I don't know, but
please,
are there not 20 homes on Doyle Court currently? I know there might be 1 or 2 vacant lots, but.
On Doyle Court itself, there are, it's the 5 here, and then there's 12 homes on Doyle Court, or 11, sorry, there's a basketball court on Lot 6.
So there's 11.
Yes.
Right, so I could see some frustration of where the depiction.
I was not comparing the Doyle Court subdivision specifically, just the 9.5 acres.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying that. Thank you. Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Schuessler,
can I make a motion?
please.
Before I make the motion, though, I would like to read what the staff has recommended as conditions that will be incorporated into the motion. There are 7 conditions. 1, the development shall be in substantial conformance with the preliminary site plan titled Bridalwood Site Plan Set, prepared by Tesca Associates, last revised September 5th. The landscape plan titled Bridalwood, prepared by Tesca Associates, last revised September 5th, 2025. The preliminary engineering plans titled Bridalwood Subdivision Preliminary Engineering, prepared by Engineering Resource Associates, last revised September 8th, 2025. Second, that all building code requirements and final engineering requirements, including required permits from outside agencies. 3, that prior to the issuance of any building permits, the petitioner submit for approval fully developed civil engineering plans that comply with the county WMO requirements and the village's stormwater control provisions, engineering plans to address all aspects of private and public utility services. 4, that all ground-based and roof-mounted mechanical equipment be fully screened from view and shall meet the requirements listed in section 6308J. 5, submit a signed permit application to the Development Services Department for a separate review. Signs are subject to additional review and approval via the signed permitting process, and additional restrictions may apply. 6, a dormant special service
Sorry, that's supposed to say area.
area, SSA, shall be established to ensure the privately owned detention pond will be maintained to village standards. And 7, an anti-monotony concept plan for proposed building elevations shall be provided to the village prior to proceeding to the Village Board of Trustees. So that's what's being recommended to us. Therefore, regarding case number 2025-0171, Bridlewood Residential Plan Development, I move to approve the staff recommended action as presented in the staff report to the Plan Commission for this case. And I further move that the Village Board consider adding additional off-street parking spaces.
Yes, you can do that.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Seconded by Commissioner Paul. I'll poll my commissioners individually. Commissioner Paul?
Aye.
Commissioner Schuessler?
Aye.
Commissioner Fenton?
Aye.
Commissioner Sanchez?
No.
No. Commissioner Shalaby?
Aye.
Chairman Parisi? Aye, and I will note that we, as part of the motion, is added a condition that additional parking spaces would be recommended. So, therefore, sir? Okay. I remind, by the way, the motion carries. The motion carries, please. Sir? We can have you removed. My goodness. So folks, it's been approved by the Plan Commission, but this will further go to the trustees, and since it's not a unanimous vote, it would first
proceed to the committee of the whole.
Yeah, first it'll go to the committee of the whole, and then it'll go to Board of Trustees. And you know, we've approved it, but you will have an opportunity.
Staff, can you give them the date for the committee of the whole meeting?
When's the committee of the whole meeting? What's the date on that? It's usually the Monday following our meeting.
Well, it depends on the anti-monotony exhibit, but usually, let's see, so we're October 7th, so it would be the November 4th.
November 4th.
November.
Committee of the whole?
Sorry,
It's
third.
November
Sorry.
3rd. It's on a Monday evening at 6 p.m.
Yes.
6 p.m., and they will revisit this. Once again, I realize that everybody's not going to get what they wanted. But, you know, some points were made in terms of the land in this village, and this village is growing, and these properties are going to be developed, and we do our best to mitigate any inconveniences that they may cause to our residents. And I do mean it sincerely when I say I thank you all for taking the time to be here and making us aware of all your concerns. With that, I move that we close this section of the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Okay. I gotta find my agenda. How'd I do it? Huh? Yeah, well, I did too, but we didn't quite get there. I'm looking for my freaking, okay. Okay. I move that we open public hearing number 2025-0072, special use permit amendment for Waterfall Plaza site improvements, 8752 159th Street.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Sanchez. All in favor?
Aye.
Is the petitioner here?
Yes.
Sir, swear me right.
Could anyone that plans to speak on behalf of the petitioner please stand and raise your right hand so you can be sworn in?
Yeah, is anybody else likely
Do
to?
you have a
Probably
team
got
here?
the owner with them.
You have a team? Why don't you all get up here? So we don't have to swear you in individually.
Thanks. All right, thanks.
There you go.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present tonight will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please say, I do. Thank you.
Sir?
Hello. Thank you very much, everyone. My name is Nick Petrovsky, Petrovski. I'm an attorney with the law firm Grogan, Hesse, and Ditsky. Our address is 2 Mid-America Plaza, Suite 110 in Oak Brook Terrace, Illinois. You guys hear me okay? All right. With me today is the architect for the plan as well. So good evening, everyone. Mr. Chairman, members of the Plan Commission, village staff, thank you all for being here, members of the public as well. My name is Nick Petrovsky. Like I said, I'm the attorney for this project today. And our firm is representing 2 applicants here tonight. So I believe there are 2 public hearings. The first is for the Waterfall Plaza improvement, and the second one is an applicant, or a tenant, excuse me, from Mirage Coffee House and Company. We are kind of making this as a one dual presentation to make save everyone's time and effort. So in short, what we're trying to do today is we're requesting an update to modernize and beautify the Waterfall Plaza. And this property is located at 8752 West 59th Street, so in the 159th corridor. Specifically, we're looking for a couple of special use permits to the current planned development that is on the property, as well as a permit for a restaurant with a drive-through service window. This restaurant, specifically with the drive-through service window, concerns the second applicant, as I said, the Mirage Coffee House. Mirage is seeking a special use permit for a restaurant with a drive-through service window and then outdoor seating as well. The ultimate goal of these is to request that the Waterfall Plaza continue to be a welcoming site to all visitors, both vehicle and pedestrian, and even bicycles, by upgrading the building's facades, patio, parking, lighting, landscape, and other amenities of the plaza. We're very excited to be here before the Planning Commission, and we have worked closely with staff who have been great in assisting with their comments and recommendations. And we are here to seek any and all input from the commissioners, the public, and try and create a more modernized, beautified plaza for the community. So with that said, we do have a short presentation. Basically, a lot of these things are just to give you guys background and facilitate kind of where things are located, what we're looking to do. So the next slide is the current property. It could use some updating. I think we can all agree to that. And so that's what we're trying to do. The next slide is kind of the overview. So if you look to the right of that picture, that would be the east. That's where the Mirage Coffee House will be located. So we're looking to, again, update the parking, lighting, the facade, basically bring this and modernize it. Go ahead. So this is kind of the elevation plans as well as what the facade we're proposing. Again, trying to make everything, bring everything up to date. So these are just the special uses that we are specifically requiring, but I know staff will go through these. The Waterfall Plaza, obviously, we're going to have some more new signage. Obviously, that will be part of a sign permit that will be forthcoming, and we're not asking for that to be approved or reviewed at this point, but we want to just show you that we're looking to modernize and update the entirety of the premises. And then I just want to specifically point out where Mirage Coffee House is, as they're going to be a part of this as well. I know we're going to do a separate public hearing, but again, just to minimize everyone's time, that is the location, and that's will be the patio, and then also the drive-through. So as you can see, we have the vehicles there. That's where it's going to be a 2-lane drive-through with a pass-through to allow for coffee service.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and so obviously we'll lead our time there. If you guys have any questions, I believe Marcus will have a lot of the presentation as well, but we have our architect here to answer any questions you may have about the layout or the traffic, the lighting, anything like that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Staff? And they've satisfactorily answered the special use conditions.
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
And I will be presenting both cases together, so I would like to begin by requesting that the staff report for Waterfall Plaza and Mirage Coffee House & Co. are entered into the record as written for this presentation. So the petitioner is requesting an approval for a special use permit amendment to the existing plan development at Waterfall Plaza. Special use permit for a restaurant with drive-through service window and outdoor seating for Mirage Coffee House & Company. Site plan approval, landscape plan approval, building elevation approval, and 3 modifications from the Land Development Code. So the site is located in the 159th and Harlem Planning District, which is mainly just the 159th Street stretch from 94th Avenue down to Harlem. It's designated as neighborhood mixed use. It's actually one of the only neighborhood mixed use designated sites for, smaller businesses along the 159th Street corridor. And as we'll discuss, the proposed site improvements are consistent with the neighborhood mixed-use designation as well as the BIZ general business district requirements and land uses. So Nick touched on the existing site over here. So we have a lot of compliance issues with our land development code and the existing development agreement at this property. Page 2 of the staff report kind of indicates a lot of the items that should have been brought up to compliance under the previous property owner, including like repairing curbs, fixing the parking lot. There was landscape enhancements that were supposed to be made, as well as lighting improvements on site. So the goal of this petition is to improve the site for future tenants, but also bring this site back into compliance with that development agreement, as well as the land development code. So the first request is for a special use for a plan development amendment, which is just for the building and the outlot. The Lover's Lane site is not a part of this petition. It's a different property owner. So this amendment updates the site plan while maintaining the existing building footprint. So there's no changes to any setbacks or anything like that for the building. The plan includes new pavement and permeable pavers, new landscape islands to meet our land development code requirements, new walkways, pedestrian improvements, lighting improvements, as well as code compliant signage on site. Additionally, we have an existing full access intersection on the south entrance of the site directly from 159th Street will be changed into a right-in, right-out only site. And that was also a request by the village to improve traffic safety and reduce potential conflict points. And that's also because the Orland Brook Drive intersection is already just to the east. There are 3 requested modifications with the plan development. The first one is to allow for parking lots within the setback area between the building and the street. That's an existing condition on the site. There's already parking between the building and the street. However, these proposed improvements are increasing that nonconformity by expanding the number of spaces between the street, so it is required to be re-requested here. We believe this is warranted because the site is underparked for having 12 tenant spaces and with their current parking configuration. Second modification is to reduce the required number of plantings within the foundation landscape planting area. And that is because the building is 100% surrounded by pavement. The front of the building has sidewalks, and then all 3 other sides have asphalt pavement. The building also has an overhang above the sidewalk, so foundation plantings just aren't feasible on an existing site like this. And the third modification is to allow for the drive-through between the building and the street. And that is because the proposed drive-through wraps from the south end of the building up to the east side of the building, which is not permitted by code. So that leads to the special use permit for a dual drive-through lane. This would help support Mirage Coffee & Co., which we voted on next. The proposed drive-through provides stacking space for up to 12 vehicles, which exceeds our code requirement for 7 vehicles. The lanes merge into a single exit point where you would head eastbound onto Orland Brook Drive, where you can then make your way down to 159th Street. The requested traffic study from KLOA found that the traffic from the drive-through will not negatively impact future or nearby intersections. And all traffic in this area will continue to operate at acceptable levels through 2031. The 12-car stacking that we came up with was actually from KLOA's traffic study, which looked at other similar coffee shop uses. So that's the number we base that off of. Overall, the layout improves the on-site circulation and supports the uses proposed here on this site. So for the parking lot expansion, the parking lot will be expanded to provide 95 total parking spaces out of the 105 required by code. And per code, the Development Services Department is authorized to approve up to a 20% reduction in the required number of parking spaces when the proposed uses are not expected to create shortages. For this case, it's a very tight site. We believe that the 95 spaces would be sufficient here. And as tenant spaces turn over in the future, parking counts at this site will be continued to be reviewed through the zoning permit process prior to the issuance of any business license for a new tenant. For the building elevations, the proposed canopy will be remodeled at the top of the building to create a more modern appearance. It's primarily I forget the material off the top of my head, I'm sorry. It's a gray stucco material. The building has a full canopy overhang, which cannot structurally support masonry materials. However, per code, all one-story buildings have to have masonry up to the tops of their windows. So the top of this building technically does not require masonry, but we like the creativity that the petitioner has proposed for this site. The landscape plan has been provided and recommended for approval by staff. The only item that's not code compliant is the previously mentioned foundation plantings, and that's just due to the canopy overhang, drive-through, and rear driveway. The preliminary engineering plans were also reviewed by staff and compliant with the Land Development Code. Volume control is provided within the permeable pavers in the parking lot, and all outstanding engineering items, including the establishment of a surety bond and an approved photometric plan that meets code requirements, will be addressed during final engineering reviews. And then I do want to touch on just a couple accessory structures. So the back of the building will have a 6-foot wood fence, and that's a screening requirement from non-residential land use to a residential land use. It's actually going to be up to 8 feet tall, closer to the drive-through, and that is just to prevent any glare or any headlights that may, point towards that fence. The front of the patio will have, or the front of the building will have a 6-foot. Well, this would actually have to be approved by code. I don't believe 6 feet is allowed, but it would have a metal fence on the front of the patio. And the front patio will also have a pergola around above it as well. That would be approved separately through a building permit. Additionally, new trash enclosures are proposed on the rear of the building, which I know just from previous site plan approvals for plan developments during the meeting minutes, trash was a big conversation that was held at this site. And there's actually going to be two motions, so I'll read the first motion here, and then we will open and close the next case as well. So staff recommends that the Plan Commission approves the special use permit amendment for the plan development. Staff recommends that the Plan Commission approves the special use for a drive-through service window, subject to meeting all the requirements in Land Development Code Section 6302 for drive-through accessories. And staff recommends that the modification for parking lots between the building and the street, drive-through facilities between the building and the street, and the reduction in landscape planting modifications are approved. And then additionally, the staff recommends that the Plan Commission approves the site plan, landscape plan, and building elevations, subject to our standard conditions. There are a couple other conditions, such as removing the wheel stops on the plans. That's something that we do not allow. And then just additional directional and no parking signs are shown during the final engineering plans. And here's the staff recommended motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody from the public who came here for this purpose? Sir? Good. How are you doing? You've waited quite a while.
Yep, the other one should have been after this one.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Name and address, sir.
Mike Nolan, 15834 Orland Brook Drive. All right, so he had mentioned that the fence. Now, I'm all for them, you know, redoing the subdivision over there because it's terrible. The fence is broken, been broken for years. So where that parking area is, where they're gonna have the drive-through, sits up at this level. So if they have a 6-foot fence, all of the lights are gonna go directly into the commercial building, the residential apartment buildings right behind it. Because it's raised, for one, I'm not sure if they looked at that at all. What's the times? What times are they gonna be open? 5 in the morning till, is there set times that they're gonna be open where you're not gonna get any traffic through there?
I can let the petitioner.
The petitioner's here, so.
Okay.
Yep.
Please. What? 7 till midnight? Till midnight.
Yeah, that's gonna be, so, does anybody here drive down Orland Brook Drive? Okay, so you know how bad it is there? Are you guys gonna put a traffic light on the end of the street there on 159th Street?
That is not proposed with this
Okay,
project.
but if you're gonna do that, you're gonna have to put a traffic light, because you cannot get out of 159th Street with the traffic there is there right now. And I'm sure you guys are well aware of Orland Brook Drive. There's a lot of accidents right there. Orland Brook Drive, 159th Street. It's 2 double intersections that you're gonna try and pull out on, and it's just not gonna work. So, that's one thing. So the noise, if it's going 7 in the morning to 12 at night, he's gonna have outdoor parking, outdoor seating. It's already loud enough from 159th Street that you can't, you barely could hear everything now, and then you could hear everything now, and you add that to the mix, it's gonna be even worse. So you had mentioned that it wasn't gonna attract he mentioned it wasn't gonna affect the traffic pattern?
Yes, so there was a traffic study provided by KLOA Associates that their determination was that it would operate at the existing level of service through 2031.
Yeah. Well, it's already bad now, so if you add, there's 2 parking lanes that merge into one, I don't know if I believe that traffic study or not. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you again for coming and for your patience. Anybody else?
I would just like to address one comment. For the 6-foot fence at the rear of the property, yeah, we did ask for an 8-foot fence in the area closest to the drive-through, and that'll be at towards the top of the hill, so that way the headlights do not shine over that.
So that building directly across from them is a 3-story building, so an 8-foot fence with the lights is just gonna flash above as they come around. From 159th Street, it's gonna come to the top of the hill, and there's gonna be 8-foot fence, and that's where the lights are gonna go, directly into the apartment building.
I understand.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sorry, that's condominium.
I understand, I know. Okay. Well, please.
Hi, do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please say you do. Thank you.
Name and address.
So, my name is Elizabeth Urbas, and I live in 15837 Orland Brook Drive. So,
Can you bring the microphone closer to?
Yes, it's being recorded.
So, so I'm a little concerned because if they're gonna go to the drive-through and they're gonna exit there is like a long building and I'm the first door, like first window. So each time when they're gonna be done with the drive-through, they're gonna light into my windows, like I'm a neighbor of you guys. So yes, the first building. So right away when you're gonna turn is gonna be next building. So it's gonna be, all lights gonna be 24/7 on our building. So I'm a little
Sure.
concerned what you're gonna,
Thank you.
how you're gonna,
Sure.
and then how the guy say, was a lot of accidents on the Orland Brook Drive. It's like extensions from 88. So when you want to go to the 151st or 3rd, you have to turn on Orland Brook Drive. So it's like really bad traffic,
Were you
you
busy?
know, so.
Can I call you back? I'm in a meeting.
Thank you. Any comments or suggestions regarding that?
Okay, thanks.
It is a valid concern, I would
Valid
say,
concern,
yes,
and yeah, and I
definitely.
wouldn't
I would
wanna-
say the only thing I could think of is restricting hours, but at the same time, I'm not sure if that would be feasible
Not good.
for at
You
least.
could restrict hours, but it's gonna be winter, it's gonna be dark at 5 o'clock,
Exactly.
4 o'clock, and they're still gonna have the lights in her condominium. But you're limited to the height of the fence you could put up.
There's a height of the fence, but then it's also, I believe the concern is when you're turning out of the drive-through on the east side of Orland Brook, there's homes back there as well.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's just because of the existing grading on the site.
Yeah. That's a problem. That's a problem. Well, I'll go to my commissioners, and we'll start with Commissioner Paul. You with us, John?
I'm here, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I mean, the concern about the drive-through and the lights, is really, you worked out. What are you mentioned the hours, I mean,
Well, it's the end unit, and that's logically where the drive-through would go.
right. Yeah, and this shopping center needs some love. It's been sitting there in not so good a condition for a long time. I like the elevations, I like the plan, make everything look nice. And, the coffee shop would be a great addition. Just want to see there's a way we can, I want this to work, but now I want to be, fair to the people that live there as well.
Understood.
If I may, I have one suggestion.
So it's not, just like I said, I'd like to see this work. There.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Sir?
Yeah, if I may, in regards to the car lights as they're exiting, instead of exiting off of that driveway on Orland, they'll essentially make it might be a little bit tight, we might have to study it a little bit further to switch the rear access of the plaza to go the opposite way. So,
That's something the staff could work with them on?
So that's something we could definitely consider. Essentially, you're saying turning the rear of the property one way, making it so all traffic has to exit behind the building.
Yeah, it might,
I don't know
we might
if
have
that would
to
work with a
reduce
turn.
the little landscape buffer that is there, shift over some of the trash enclosures. But it might be a possible solution to kind of address some of the concerns that the residents have. Thank you.
Okay. Well, before I poll my commissioners, I want to take a 3-minute recess so we can confer with you, see what you want to do.
Thank you.
We'll go in the back room.
You want a motion? I move we recess for 5 minutes.
Okay, so granted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, there's some issues regarding two things. One is the configuration of the driveway because of possibility of it, lighting into people's homes. Along with that is the late hours, midnight. And I'm going to make a motion. I'm going to request that we continue this to our next meeting.
Okay, there's some issues regarding.
Excuse me?
That's you. John's is echoing again.
Oh. But we're still the issue of the the traffic itself. So I think we should continue it.
So just is this on?
Is it,
I recognize Commissioner Schussler.
is it realistic to think that the traffic can be rerouted? Or are we kind of shaking our thing in the wind here?
Realistically, I would say that it would be very difficult for traffic to make a left out of the drive-through and circle behind the entire building. One, just because it's a pretty narrow site. It was not built for that, especially on the northwest corner of the building. But one thing we did discuss was potentially limiting hours for exiting vehicles.
That's true, but I would think that having lights shining into your residence is probably worse at 8 o'clock than it is at midnight when you're in bed. You're not going to have it in there as often, but it's probably going to have more of an impact. So I think it's important that reconfiguration. And you don't think it's?
I just don't believe that a vehicle like an SUV or a van would be able to make a left out of the drive-through, avoid this dumpster enclosure, again, go down, and then avoid a retaining wall on the west side of the site.
Marcus, what about, could you do the entrance on the northeast side and then come this way? Like exiting toward where the entrance is now?
No, the window would be in the wrong.
Well, the other thing is you could limit the drive-through hours.
Which we are open to. We're not.
Are open to?
We are open to that.
Because, I mean, if somebody wants to frequent your restaurant and driveway's not open, hopefully they would park and go in and get their coffee.
And that's why we have patio service and all that,
You have
right?
patio service.
Right,
So I'd be more inclined to restrict the drive-through hours.
With that said, I don't think we can guarantee in any way, once it gets dark in December, there's gonna be lights regardless. I just wanna be clear about that. And I think, and I'll defer to you guys on what you guys think is the proper hours, but
I don't think if the redesign isn't realistic, I'm not sure that there's much to
Yeah, really.
consider in the interim.
But I need to, well, the motion doesn't talk about drive-through.
We can add the restriction.
Just add a recommendation.
All right.
I'll put a motion on
All
the
right,
floor.
well, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Schussler.
regarding case number 2025-0072, special use permit for Waterfall Plaza site improvements, move to approve the staff recommended action as presented in the staff report to the Plan Commission for this case, and to recommend to the village board that the drive-through hours for any business at this site be limited to not be open after 9 p.m. That the drive-through not be open after 9 p.m.
Have a motion, do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Paul. I'll poll our commissioners. Commissioner Sanchez.
I guess before I answer that, is this both, are we voting on both the property and the coffee shop? Or is this specifically for?
Well, we covered both.
There's two motions.
But
right,
there's
Mark?
two motions to be made.
There's two motions, so.
We'll put the same thing in the next
Yeah,
motion.
okay.
Okay, so if I had questions about, because normally you'd go to all of us, but I think we got skipped on that last one.
Well, no.
Skipped ahead.
Yeah, we skipped ahead, so
So
go
if we had
ahead.
questions on like parking spots and stuff, should I ask those now, or should I, is that?
On parking spots?
Yeah, aren't we short 10 spots?
We are.
Per the code?
Yes.
And
But you addressed that.
I did mention, yeah, that staff's authorized to approve up to a 20% reduction in parking spaces.
Okay. Does the, I know the Lover's Lane property is not included in this, but do the parking spots there, are those included in the total 95 spots?
They are not, so there's no official agreement with the Lover's Lane property. I know that the petitioner's team has been trying to get some sort of agreement with them, but there's nothing with this case that allows that.
Got it. But that's probably a positive, right? So there is some extra spots there that are just not counted in this 95. Okay, that's good. And then the extra parking, that's replacing, like today on 159th Street, there's a big grassy area with trees, so that's all coming out? It's gonna be more parking there?
That's correct. So basically, it's just a plain grass area. Now, there will be additional parking up towards the street, but then also additional landscaping to try to screen that parking.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you, Dan. Commissioner Shelby.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you, as the owner. 159th is one of our main thoroughbred roads, and I think I pass by this site half a dozen times daily, and it's in need of beautiful manicure that looks like it's going to happen here. Elevation looks great, the aesthetics look great. I think that it's adding a different outdoor patio and some vibrancy to the strip mall that's been respectfully lagging for many, many years. I do have a small concern when parking, only because I'm just doing simple math and saying there's 12 tenants in the property, and you're allocating about 8 spaces per tenant, including employees. So I think that I'm comforted by the fact that staff will revisit this once the development keeps thriving, I hope, in the future.
Yes, and I would like to just make one quick correction. I believe there's currently 12 units, but with this proposed use, units 3 and 4 and 6 and 8 will be combined. So sorry, that was just one minor correction, but
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Fenton.
Thank you very much for improving this site. It's very sad that it hasn't been kept up and everything, and I think, although you're modern, it's very modern looking. We'll call it maybe farmhouse modern. But anyway, thank you very much for improving the site. I am a little concerned about the lights coming out from across the street, so if there's anything that staff or developer can possibly come up with some miracle idea or something like that, that would be wonderful. I'm glad, thank you very much for taking the hours down to 9 o'clock versus midnight. That might help. I understand that 8 o'clock or 9, if you're sitting in your living room, that might have an effect, but I think hopefully that staff can work with you and come up with something, maybe go over there at night and drive through there just to see how the headlights are hitting the residents across the street, because our first concern is residents, but we also want to bring new business, and I also think the residents will appreciate what you're doing there, considering what it looks like now. And with the 8-foot fence back there, that should help some of it, although they are higher buildings, but my concern was the drive-through and the hours.
Thank you. Commissioner Schuessler?
Everything's been said. I agree with everything that's been said.
And I believe, John, did you have your opportunity to speak?
He did. He was first.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, I don't have anything to add other than I agree with other people. I'm happy to see that site get improved. It really needed it badly, everything we're doing. It was an eyesore, and I'm happy, as I think the residents will be, to see it improved. So now that I've polled all of my commissioners, I will entertain your motion again, Commissioner Schuessler.
Regarding case number 2025-0071, special use permit for a restaurant with a drive-through service window and outdoor seating, Mirage Coffee House and Company, if I pronounce that right. I move to approve the staff recommended action as presented in the staff report to the Plan Commission for this case. provided the service window be closed at 9 PM.
The drive-through service.
Yeah, the drive-through service window, yes.
Okay, and I will second that. And I will poll everybody. Commissioner Paul. Commissioner Sanchez.
Aye.
Commissioner Shalaby.
Aye.
Commissioner Fenton.
Aye.
Commissioner Schussler.
Aye.
Chairman Parisi, aye. Motion carries. Do we need a second motion?
We do, so there's a second case number, correct?
Yes.
This is regarding the site improvement, so the staff recommended action and the
Sure.
additional language is on your screen.
Okay. Okay.
Thought that was the one I just read.
Nope, these are the site improvements. That was a restaurant with drive-through, and then these are the site improvements coming up.
Which one was read first? Sorry.
He
sound
he
very
already did the
similar.
drive-through
He
and
did the
outdoor
drive-through,
seating,
okay.
and now we need the site improvements one. Yeah, here we are. Here we
Okay.
are.
Are we good?
Yep.
Regarding,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Schussler.
regarding case number 2025-0071, special use permit for a restaurant with a drive-through service window and outdoor seating.
No, this is the site improvements.
This is one I read here.
This one is the second one.
This one?
Yeah.
I'll get it.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Regarding case number 2025-0072, special use permit amendment for
Where's that
Waterfall
one?
Plaza site improvements, I move to approve the staff recommended action as presented in the staff report to the Plan Commission for this case, and to recommend to the village board that the drive-through hours for any business at this site not be open after 9 PM.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Sanchez. Okay. Commissioner Paul. Aye. Commissioner Sanchez.
Aye.
Commissioner Shalaby.
Aye.
Commissioner Fenton.
Aye.
Commissioner Schussler.
Aye.
And Parisi. Aye. Thank you all. Lots of luck. Best of luck to you.
The first case that was up, the first case that was cited was the restaurant, the specific
Please.
restaurant relief.
Okay. So I made that first motion on this one.
Well, I'll fix it. The case, we were
Yeah.
just following the case numbers as they were.
They'll be, they're represented right there.
Waterfront Plaza first, then I did this one.
Okay, I move.
Is there any other public comment?
I don't think so. I move that there's no other public comment, so I move that we close public hearings.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Schussler, all in favor?
Aye.
Are there any non-scheduled citizens or visitors that had something here? No. So other than that, I move that we adjourn
I'll second that.
at 9:43 PM, seconded by Commissioner Schussler, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.